Hi everyone, my name is Yabes and I'm running to be your incoming president. This past year I had the honor of serving as UFC secretary. Through this position I have continued to improve my skills in organization, collaborative planning, and time management while also having the privilege to connect with my fellow board members, UFC's Gen members, and affiliates through Northwest VASA. My experience on UFC's board, as well as my previous secretary and presidential roles in Key Club, have provided me the leadership skills to guide me throughout my next term. I am proud to see how we've helped improve the club from last year, and I wish to continue helping the club flourish, such as through increased member engagement and retention, more collaborative events with cultural organizations, and educational workshops. As president, I will ensure that all officers on board feel prioritized through delegation and bonding activities, as well as continuing to create a welcoming environment for new and returning members. I hope you will consider me to help lead UFC this upcoming year. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mia and I'm running for president for next year. Being involved with UFC for the past 2 years has been a highlight of my time at SU, as it has provided me with a space to take pride and ownership in my Filipino culture. Through UFC, I have discovered a second home and created bonds with people that I now consider my family. I am running because I want to create this experience that I had for others, whether it's their first or last year here at SU. Though I was not on this year's e-board, I believe that I've proven my leadership capabilities as a PR chair and choreographer for this year's barrio. If elected, I'll work diligently to increase inclusivity, create deeper bonds with other cultural clubs on and off campus, and bridge the gap between the e-board and Gen members. I have full confidence in my ability to lead next year's board and utilize the talents of its members to spread our love for our culture throughout this campus. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to run, and it would be an absolute honor to lead this organization that has such a special place in my heart during my last year at SU.
Well, I just want to say props to you two. Running for president is definitely an intimidating position to run for. I have a really easy two-part question. Alright, so I'll ask the first one, you can answer, then I'll ask the second. As president, because of the nature of the role, you have a lot of responsibilities on your plate to help bolster the club and its Congress. How will you balance your time and energy to help meet the needs of each individual in your group?
I believe that as a leader, a huge part of a good team is delegation and asking for help. So as I mentioned with secretary, I want my board to be open. I will be an approachable president. And so with that, I hope that the board members will come to me with any concerns. And just having that open line of communication, I think, is really important. And I understand that being president comes with a lot of responsibilities. So like I said, I won't be afraid to ask for help, whether it be with the current board members or people like our soon-to-be alumni. Like I know I have all of you guys to turn to, especially because I know that I'm limited by the fact that I haven't been on e-board, but I feel that I feel very supported, and I hope to show that support for my future board as well.
I think also adding on to what Mia said, delegation is really important because currently we have 16 people on board, and that's a lot of people, and each person has their specific duties, and it's really important as president to be a guiding figure, so working with other positions to create deadlines and creating a plan of like how we're going to execute certain ideas. And as for balancing the presidential role, it's important to again lean on your other board members, not just for completing tasks, but also as a support system, emotional support, and making sure that you build that trust with the officer board. So what we do, currently we have one-on-one meetings, so we check in on how we're doing throughout the quarter and how we want to improve the club together, and I want to incorporate us creating specific and achievable goals that we can follow throughout the quarter and to see everyone's progress.
Alright, second question. This year, we have seen the most collaboration and networking opportunities in recent years between our club and other cultural clubs such as Hui and Mariana's, as well as other Filipino orgs. With President usually being the main contact for opportunities like this, how do you plan on initiating and maintaining these networking opportunities with other cultural orgs like DSU or class?
I personally have a lot of personal connections to people on these different cultural clubs, whether it be African Student Association or class, Mecha, Hui. I have all these personal connections, and I feel like I'm gonna really utilize that as president, because I feel like that's a huge thing, just networking with other clubs and finding out ways to support each other. I've had the privilege to attend so many legacy events in the past month, and I think it really shows how we can show up for each other and like the communal love that we have for our own cultures and just sharing that. So I think just engaging Gen members, e-board members to go and do those things. I've also had the privilege to attend end of FOSA meetings, and as a Gen member, I was really nervous to go just because I feel like I didn't have for some reason I didn't feel like I had a privilege or a place to go. But I found that through that, I've made so many connections with people who go to different schools and learning about their experience being Filipino in the PNW. So I think also pushing people to join those events and do all of that is a really important thing. And I think will just help us stay all connected as this whole like people of color world.
That's great.
I think it's really great that we've been expanding our connections and reaching out to clubs within Northwest FOSA, but also the other cultural clubs on campus. And I think one of the ways that we can further our connections is to continue showing up to their weekly meetings and following their social media, reaching out to them by delegating PR, and also maybe historian to collaborate with them on something as like Filipino American History Month or AAPI Heritage Month. So that would be a fun idea to have. And also, I think we could improve on more collaborations within clubs of Northwest FOSA, such as FOSA Sa Yabes Seattle. We could collaborate with them and reach out to their Project Family, which is a Filipino American mentorship program for high school students. So not only are we reaching out to organizations from universities, but we're also reaching out to cultural clubs from high schools, and then that can reach down to middle schoolers. And not only are we creating a fun social environment for them, but we're also creating educational workshops, and then that can inspire them to lead a club like this or join a club like this.
One more question? Yeah, from someone. Okay, we have one more question. Sorry. Okay. As an incoming senior, this was my first year feeling included in the club, which made me feel closer to my culture because of how welcoming UFC was this year. How will you continue to promote inclusivity in UFC and make sure all members, Gen members and board, are involved and not feel left out?
One of the goals that I had for my role as secretary was to make events and UFC accessible for everyone, so not just for Gen members in UFC and also for new students, but also for those outside of UFC, outside of SU, so those in Northwest FOSA, outside organizations, and sorry, could you repeat the question? Or the last part of the question?
Yeah. How will you continue to promote inclusivity in UFC and make sure all members are involved and not feel left out?
I think an important part of making sure everyone feels included is to make the events accessible by promoting them ahead of time. So that starts with the officer board and creating a structured officer meeting. So there's proactive planning, which means like one of the ideas I have that I did with my previous officer board in Key Club was to create a master list of different event ideas, fundraiser ideas, and also what I created this spring quarter was a Google form that can Google form for Gen members where they can send in their input on events that they would like us to see. So not only are we proactively planning within the officer board and generating ideas from the 16 of us, but also generating ideas from everyone else. And it's important to, since we have bi-weekly meetings, we gotta make the most out of it. We only have 2 hours, so we can create educational workshops, promoting different clubs, different events, and also collaborating with community service chair to find volunteer events outside of the campus, just so we can reach out to our surrounding community.
I very much resonate with this question. Technically, I've been a part of UFC for 3 years, since my freshman year, but I don't know if it was because we were the incoming class on Zoom, so we didn't get to see each other in person, but I feel that the only time that I felt included and excited to go to meetings was this past year, so I want to thank the board for that, because I think they had such a huge impact on that. And I think I've only recently felt that I have a voice in this club, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So I'm super passionate about being inclusive. So, when thinking about questions like this, I think about my personal experience. Why did I start to continue to go to meetings? And it's because I created connections through my second year doing Barrio. I was in one dance, but throughout that, I met so many great people, and it was just 1 hour of us dancing together, super simple, and we would go get food after, and so I found myself going to Gen meetings because I wanted to see these people again. And so I think a super important thing is just having small activities, small getaways, let's go get boba after, and making sure that those opportunities are also open to everyone, because I think it's those little connections that you make that will keep people showing up to meetings, and will push people to get their friends to come. So I think just not thinking too much about events, and just doing things that are again accessible to everyone, I think is really important for inclusivity.